Hi everyone, this is Jewel from F1 Production Squared, and we're back to continue recording some more for the 11th Developers Vlog for Space Crusade. I completely forgot where we were at last time working on stuff, so we're just going to start up working on it right now. And how the hell did that happen? And that is currently working on getting some more stuff into the modding system, into the INI file and all that stuff. Most recent additions have been the damage, special damage kind of things, and also the resources and casino stuff as well, as you can see. So for the damage, what's happening here is that this is kind of just like a list of things where you can go in and edit the various values for the the special damage. So for example, if you wanted to make piercing 1 do more damage to armor, you would change the second value here from 0.25 to whatever you wanted to put it at. Put it at 0.50 to do 1.5 times as much damage. Well, no, this is 1.5, because it would be, so no, I was right the first time. And then you also have underneath that the number of turns for turn-based damage. So if you wanted Napalm 1 to do more damage and last longer, you would change. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you change 0.15 to whatever you wanted to change it to, and then also change 2 to whatever you wanted to change it to. Now, what I'm thinking about doing is figuring out a way to maybe do this all in the database. However, that can be said for a lot of this stuff, that we can put it into the database and just have it taken from the database. But I'd rather have it do it out of the INI file. While a little more messy than a database table would be, at the same time, it's easier to work with. You don't see Skyrim having all of its settings put into like a database file somewhere. Granted, they don't use databases at all, really, but at the same point, it's just easier to work with an INI file, I think. But I'll explore all the other options that would have with this kind of modding of the different damage types later on, maybe in 1.1 or maybe 1.2. Probably go in and maybe try to find a way to have it so you can have a system where you can actually define what the things do. You can actually say, okay, well, I want piercing 1 to do what it normally does, but I also want it to do damage to lasting damage to the shield or something. There might be a way that you could add in like commands or something into like a database entry in order to add those in or something like that. Kind of like if any of you have ever run a Ragnarok Online server, kind of like adding in item scripts to items for Ragnarok, where you would have like a command or a string of commands that would be attached to that specific item, and when they're used, those scripts get executed by the server. So maybe something like that, or some other way, but for now this is how it's going to happen. You can modify just the amount of damage it does and the length that the damage will last for. That's still a pretty good amount of control, but not complete control, like I want to have try and implement for everything that's going to be able to be edited and modded. So, what I'm doing now is I'm going back through and I'm going to be changing all the stuff that we changed here, added into the modding system, changing all the values that where these things are used at, so it's actually using the the correct stuff now, so I could potentially compile it and test things or whatnot. Still a long way from having a buildable version, buildable playable version 6, but I've been loading up to make sure things have been loading correctly from the INI file whenever I add new things in. Been trying to build upon that listing of. I actually did do some work on that, by the way. The list of things that have been imported that list I said is making for mod creators to check to make sure your edits have been being imported correctly. I did some work on that actually. I fixed up all the stuff that's already here. So you got the definition of whatever it's supposed to be, then the name of the variable or the key inside of the INI file, and then the value that was imported for that key. I said that I wanted to, instead of using the internal name for these variables, these values, to use the one from the INI. So if you see that SSR low is some value it shouldn't be, you can go check and see what's going on over here in the INI file. See if that's where the problem's at or not. I also did some editing for taking out the stuff that wasn't used anymore. Because right now, ships are being cataloged, and weapons too, are all being cataloged by class instead of by just an entire range of things. Ships are still being done by, well, ships and weapons are still being done by entire ranges. So you have the ship range 1 to 45 or something. There's no way to do that now. You can't have every ship inside of a valued range now because of all the empty space there is. You'd have to fill in all the empty space first, which I'm not going to do because, one, it's just insane. That's kind of overblown for right now, and two, it would take a very long time, and I don't have the time to do that. Let's see, it's still raining. Now still some lightning though. So let's go ahead and get to it. We'll go and start over in the game with the casino stuff since that's what I did first. And then we'll start. I'll discuss how we're going to handle these. All these comma delimited strings that we have in this file here, and start discussing how that can be handled and start actually putting in the code to do so. Where's the game? It's not even open. We actually don't even need this. The INI file at the moment. So let's go down to game. And all the way down here somewhere. Let's see, where are we at? That's still a menu loop. Still station stuff. Here we go. Okay, so set up CAI, Casino AI. Alright, here we go. Boom. Right where we want to be. So let's go up a bit. Alright, so underneath the create bug info is where we're at. Alright, so roulette. I don't think any of this stuff needs to be changed here because it's all internally done. There's no values being used from outside. That's down here when we're processing the win. The winnings, who's won, who's lost, and whatever. Later on. Yeah, so instead of BR_num, we want to use something else. It's probably going to, let's see, casino, well, first GV for global vares. Then casino, roulette, bet, return. And this was num, so num. And wherever we're using that now, oops, I'm going to change it to, just kind of give you an idea of what these are going to look like now. What the hell? No, that's right, it should be that. So that's kind of what these look like now. They'll be the GV, colon, then whatever the value is that we need. And they are similar to what's in here already, so it's kind of simple to change. Some of them not so much, but many of them yes. So GV, C, RBR, C underscore G. That's for green pockets. So is this for player only? No, it's for both. We got the player's specific one, and then we got the one for everybody else. Okay. So we'll only be doing this a few times. Actually, that should be RB. Red, black. Still, it's an easier way to change things. Just copy down that and then change what you need to. Of course, you don't really save too much time, to be honest. So you're only changing a few things. That's right, we use type twice because there's two different types. Even and odds. Odds and evens. Let's see. GV, C, RBR, S_S. Actually, L. Not S, but L. Ah, we got one too many of those. What happened? Got a little too fresh with the colon key there. And then S, which we just changed one character for. Infinitely faster than having to retype everything out. Wait a second here. What is going on here? Okay, we really screwed that up somehow. This should be S, not L. And somehow it's still S instead of L, or L instead of S. Now we're back to L. That's right, there's one for each section. There's some good thunder. I'm not too worried about the power going out because really the power has never gone out once since I've lived here. Some kind of crazy thing though. Just it's the fact that it has never gone out once. Phoenix has a really good power grid. Something does go out, it doesn't really affect too large of an area. So I'm not going to do this for every single one of these. It would take a very long time to do them all. I don't want to waste time. I just want to do one of these sections here just to show you what's going on. Now I'll shoot back to S. Back to L. And to S once again. And hopefully that's the last one. Yes. This one's really simple, just Q and H is all we need on those. This allows you to change these values to whatever you want to, without having to change the actual code. So if you want to change, the returns for getting a quarter, you just change it over there in the INI file, and away you go. Which is exactly what we wanted to do. And then half, which is also equally easy. Change key to H. There's only two halves. course, I have no effing clue if this will actually work or not, this code, because I never tested it yet. So it should be interesting to see how many bugs there are. I'm not even going to be egotistical about it. I know there's going to be bugs. There's going to be so many bugs, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be like probably 30 to 60 bugs that I'll have to work out. I'll probably have to rewrite everything more than once. It's just a problem for some reason with me. It's create bugs all over the place, usually on new software. If it's really complicated like this stuff is anyway. If it's not as complicated, then nah, maybe not. But if it is complicated, then damn. I'll find a way to make things not work somehow. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to handle these things. The common delimited strings. So what's going to happen is that those are going to become an array of sorts, or maybe a vector would be better to use because they can be any size. Become a vector, and you use it kind of like a index kind of thing where you look up stuff. In the case of damage, you would have 3 different vectors. You'd have one for the names, one for the damage percentages, extra damage percentages, the damage percentages, then one for the turns. And you would use, so like if you're looking at piercing 1, you look up, okay, so piercing 1 is element 1. So everything related to piercing 1 is going to be element 1 on the other things. That's why it's very important, and I am highly emphasizing it, that all these be accurately, these be listed in order accurately to what the DT name order is. Because if you don't do that, then you'd have Napalm 1's turn setting being used for frigate only, when frigate only is not supposed to be used for, not supposed to have any kind of extra damage or even turns. So it's very important to do that. So to do these though, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do them in the global vars again. But they're not going to be part of the stuff that you input, or stuff that gets imported into the program from the INI. Instead, we're going to use the imported data to make them within this, but they're still going to be inside of the global var structure, so they can be accessed the same way as everything else can. So it's still going to be kind of self-contained, but be accessible to anything that needs to use them without having to recreate them every time. So, what we need to do is we need to go in here and make the types, make the stuff here. So say, we'll say called vectors. So we'll start with the very first one, which I think is ships, up here somewhere. Or I don't know, maybe what it is. I think about ship classes. Yeah. So you get the ship classes. So it's going to be a string vector. So vector string, I'm going to say S classes. Oh crap, we need to put in that up here. Alright. Include vector using std vector. Alright, and then how we would do this is we'd do the substring command. Or not substring, how would we do this? That's a good question. One that I didn't really think up how we would use it. I want to make a new function for this stuff. So called sets non-imported values. So, it'd be really easy if we had like an explode thing, something like that. Let's see. Let's see. Explode plus C++. C boost split string. Boost split. So let's see. So maybe we can use that. Another boost thing here. So let's have a look. Properties, general. So that's still in D. Boost the first one. String, well, it's string, I guess. Gotta split though. What I'm looking for though is the libs. Now, so I only built out program options. So what we need to do is we need to be able to build let's see. Nice little trick for you to memorize there. If you type CMD into the address bar up here at any point in time, you can open up that particular folder in command prompt. Oh crap. like to do. Do it like that, and you end up building this huge folder of things that takes up multiple gigabytes. Alright, so I wanted to figure out relearn how to friggin' build boost here. So that's what just took a break to do, and so I've been looking through this, and I think I have it again. So what I need to do is I need to go back to boost. Alright, so need to run CMD again. Now I'll need to do B2. Then build directory. Well, first let's do this B2. So we want to do some test thread. Algorithm, I guess is what it is. Or underneath math. Boost algorithm string split. So is that underneath math? Let's see. It must be because there's a math here. Let's see. Maybe you don't have to build anything. Yeah, I guess this is just that's nice. You don't have to actually build a library. Alright, so we just have to include boost algorithm string.hpp. Alright, now let's go look back at the... Okay, so we have to add both. Split and string, so we need to do that too, okay. That. And then namespace boost. Or to say boost split. I'm gonna say split. Split. Alright, so SC names. First, take a look at the usage here. So split details, res. Okay, so you have the string that you want to a string that has the thing that you want to split. Then you have the receptacle to put the string elements in, and then boost. Okay. So split. And the order that's used is what you want to put it in, the string to split, and then what to split it on. So the vector we want to use is S classes. The thing we want to split is ST names. No. SC names. And then boost of type is of any. Okay. Boost is of any. I believe that was a. Yeah. Is any of. Oops. Okay, so that should populate the SC names, or S classes vector. Now to make sure it does, we need to put it in this. So for I equals 0. Yes, and complain about I. Then S classes dot size And let's see, over here it's SC types. And that's all we'll tell with that. So now in order to do this, though, to test this, we'll actually have to go in and change all the other stuff that I had changed to re-edit and whatnot to fix the errors that will now be there, proclaiming that stuff's no longer valid because the defines have been taken out. And I'll do that real quick, and then we'll start recording again to test out how this works. Alright, so I got everything either changed or edited out. I had to go through and damage and edit out, comment out a lot of stuff that I'll have to go back through and fix, and some other issues that just popped up for whatever reason. And I actually also just tested it right now just to make sure it worked before I, completely made an ass of myself or something, but it all works. So let's go ahead and actually show you it working. So, load it up. We wait a little bit of time. Data successfully loaded from Data successfully loaded from configuration file. So we want to view the loaded data. And so here we have starting range 1 to 5, frigate ID range 1-8, destroyer ID range 3137, blah blah blah, mining barge ID range 229 to 233. All that checks out, and then our final one, boom. And it works, what do you know? So, class names imported, frigate, destroyer, cruiser, battleship. About to go through and replace the underscores with spaces, but as you can see, it works, which is awesome. So, what this will be used for is for like things where you have to go in and say compare or something. I don't really know where the hell this would be used at specifically. I guess it's just something that you can use, that'll be used for making sure that the ship type is an actual ship type, ship class type, or something. I don't really know how it's going to be used, but I'll figure out a way. I did have originally an idea of how it was going to be used, but right now it's after midnight right now, and I haven't been really doing too well after midnight for anything really recently. So my brain's probably starting to shut down a little. So it'll probably come back to me some other time. But, yep. Oh, I want to show you the icon. Actually, it's not the icon, it's the previous version icon. You may have already seen it here. So the as you might have known, or as you will know from the first video of the this development vlog, I'm going to be renaming Space Crusade to another name once we release it. At least the full version. And right now it's essentially whittled down to a list of O and V name, V letter, first letter named, first and second part names. So like Odyssian Void, Obsidian Voyage, that kind of stuff. And so I decided to make the actual icon for it now, which is what spawned this. And I actually have a much more recent version. I guess we can go from here. I will show you. Let's switch to large icons. There we go. So it's kind of it's pretty much the same as this, except I have like a beveled edge here that makes it seem more 3D-ish. You can't really see it on this background. I'll drop it over here. Yeah, you can see, well, it's still not going to look the same because this is a different kind of sizing than the other one. Yeah, I probably should increase the brightness of that reflection there. It's a little bit too dull. I was trying to mimic Steam's icon, wherever the hell it's at, on this rat maze of there it is, Steam's icon. So you can see with the kind of the reflection, but it's a little too dark for my purposes. This will work, but it's a little too bright, so probably somewhere between these two will be where the final one is at. But the original version of the icon was just this. I mean, it worked for, what the purposes, but I wanted to be something a little more to it than just that, so that's how we came up with this. I added in the background rounded rectangle background, and then stuck this on, add that little reflection, and then did this bevel thing. Which I still need to work on. That can be a little thinner. It needs to be more like the edge on this, where it's just kind of enough to tell you that there's a little more depth to it than having it be a flat image. That's a little excessive. But that's going to be it for tonight. Hope you enjoyed the videos. If not, at least found that a little bit educational. And what the hell? We're missing some stuff here. Strange. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, would appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel. And I will see you next time.